Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Kronk.
Okay, doctors, what I want to talk about today is settlements. What I want to talk about in particular is, why was this settlement that got called in so high? So, as many of you know, my name is Dr. Kronk. I run the Smart Injury Doctors program. And what we do is we really educate doctors on the injuries and the simplicity of the injuries. We show them a very unique area in the market that they can operate in. We show that unique area is so easy to attract new people into, attract attorney referrals into, attract medical doctor referrals into, and it just basically makes everything about personal injury a lot easier. Now, one of the things that I love about it, probably the most, is that when doctors are in deposition or trial, knowing and understanding the simplicity of the injuries, how you work them up, what the consensus is behind them, makes depositions and makes trials a lot easier, a lot less stressful on the doctor. So let me give you an example. So one of our Smart Injury doctors called in and he wanted some help with a depo. And he does this every once in a while. He's a very, very good doctor and he really knows his stuff. So he likes the fact that he can call in on a coaching call and he can, refine if he's got something that he's concerned about being asked, not because he doesn't understand it, but just because he wants to see how I would answer it or how I would try to pummel him on the questioning. He did that, right? And the case was, here's the case. The case was a girl is in an auto injury 4 years ago, and she treated with a lot of doctors that really didn't understand the injuries, and she was not getting better. She was currently working with a doctor, and they were doing co-treatment with pain management, and with the injections and the co-treatment and all the various things that she was trying to do, it just wasn't working. It just wasn't doing anything. So the attorney knew that this doctor did ligament testing. So he sent the patient and his client over to this doctor. Doctor did a great workup, found there was significant ligament damage, not rateable, not grade 3 findings, not surgical levels of findings, but significant findings in the cervical spine, both in the mid and upper cervical spine. So from the mid all the way up. Now, that explained why the person was having so much trouble. Now, one of the things he did is he explained to the pain management provider that the upper cervical facets, C2, C3, C3, C4, were problematic, especially in the imaging study. Now, the pain management specialist said, wow, we've never tried to inject those areas, and they basically made a change in their treatment plan based on the test results. And lo and behold, guess what? The patient started to improve, significantly improve. Now, she'd spent 4 years having problems and a lot of care. And now she was resolving. Now she was getting better. Now the treatment was working. Now it was more manageable. Okay, now guess what? There was a lot of policy there. There was a big policy there. I think it was a commercial vehicle that hit her. And so the attorney was going for policy limits, and I believe that policy limits in this case were $1 million. So, or just over $1 million, I think. So the thing that I liked the most is that the doctor understood, well, gosh, it was very easy to be able to explain the injuries to the defense. He was deposed and he was put on trial. And in trial, the defense attorney tried to basically turn around, tried to be not really belittle, but tried to just ask really good questions. How do you know it wasn't there previously? How do you know it wasn't a pre-existing condition? How do you know this was the cause of the problem? Well, how do you know these things, doctor? How do you know these other doctors missed this? You found it. Why did the other doctors miss it? All of those type questions that you could get into. And it was a very, very good defense attorney. One of the tops in his state. Now, what I love the most is he was very easily able to simply describe the injury, what the problem was, why the problem was accelerated when you had doctors that had missed this condition for 4 years, why it took so long, and why when they understood the injury and started to supply treatment to the right areas and do the right things that actually worked to address those areas specifically, the patient started to get better. Now, he was also in the case, they settled and resolved the case for $1 million, just over $1 million, I was told. And what was really beautiful is he got $46,000 worth of future care paid for in the settlement. It was the largest settlement it was the largest trial that he had ever done. It was the largest amount of future care money that the patient have ever gotten. Now, as I've said to doctors in the injury market, you don't want to care. I don't care about settlements. I have so many doctors that have had high six-figure settlements. I have a lot of doctors that I've taught that have had high six-figure settlements. I've had doctors that I've taught that have had seven-figure settlements. But it's not the settlements. That's not the thing that always gets me excited, and that's not the thing that gets these doctors excited either. Now, do they like that? Yes, because it's validation that their simple communication works. Their simple communication communicates. The jury got it. Their consensus and their understanding of the consensus around these injuries really helps everybody to make a better decision. And that's really what you want to be. When I talk about being in deposition and making depositions go easy, it's because what I teach in my program is how to keep doctors to stay on offense. Doctors have a very, very difficult time doing this, and it's kind of fun every once in a while. As a matter of fact, I have a webinar coming up on the 3 biggest defense questions that you can ask that will mess you up. But it's very easy for me to get a smart injury doctor on one of our coaching calls and show them how easy it is to get you off track and get you dispersed in a deposition. It's fairly easy to do. Now, some of you that have done hundreds of depositions or hundreds of trials, you've learned from sort of the school of hard knocks how to do that. And so there are a rare few of you that are really, really good at this stuff. And I commend you. You should be. If you do enough of it, same way I got my, how I got my stripes, so to speak, is by just doing a lot of it. And more importantly, also helping others. So it's one thing for you to be able to do something. It's another for you to get others to be able to do it. And that's where you really start to know it, is when you can actually pass it on to others. And part of the biggest part of being so comfortable, and the biggest part of the reason why this settlement and these other settlements, when I talk about high six-figure settlements or I talk about seven-figure settlements, is because the simplicity of the injury is communicated, and then the simplicity of the consensus about that injury. So the provider doesn't have to rely on his own professional opinion on a more probable than not basis. Although there's good things, those are tools for depositions, those are tools for when you're in trouble, those are tools when you need space, when you feel like you're getting cramped down in a deposition, you're getting cramped down in a trial. Those are good things to have. But what's much, much, much better to have is just the simplest of understanding and the simplest of explanation. So if I could bring this doctor on, and he explained his explanation of things. Okay, his explanation of pre-existing condition was so simple and so easy that it simply took out this whole pre-existing condition thing. Remember, I don't know, doctors, if you've seen, but there's 4 terms. You need to know active, dormant, pre-existing condition. You need to know what an aggravation and an exacerbation is. And you need to know what proximate cause is. And pretty much you got the whole pre-existing condition thing licked. You really do, if you understand that aspect of it. But the thing that I like so much is, and I remember when I was in private practice, when patients would come in and they were under care for 6 months, or they were under care for 2 years, or they were under care. I mean, I remember the largest settlement I had in King County history. King County was the largest county in Seattle in the Washington state, was with a female that had been pretty much disabled and, really bad off for 2 years under medical and osteopathy care at that point, and probably physical therapy. I think there was also physical therapy there. We took her in, and within like 6 months, she was pretty much 95% recovered and fully reemployed, fully back on the job. And so, and I just remember it was so great because yes, I got deposed, and yes, we went to trial, and yes, the attorney was basically really, nervous about the trial because they had a medical doctor that was going to testify. So we devised simple. She was under medical care for 2 years. She was under my care for 6 months. 2 years with these guys, really bad pain, chronic pain, and could not work. 6 months with us, 95% better and fully reemployed. So which care worked, medical care or chiropractic care that I was delivering? So now we just had to differentiate it. So I wrote up a bunch of questions for him to ask the medical doctor. Hey, medical doctor, have you ever gone to a chiropractic college? No. Have you ever taken any education on chiropractic? No. Have you ever taken any education on spinal manipulation? No. Have you ever performed any spinal manipulations? No. Do you currently read or chronically read any journal or journal articles on spinal manipulation? No. Have you ever taken a weekend course on spinal manipulation? No. I mean, just on and on and on. Have you ever received an adjustment yourself? No. Good. So after they answered about 20 no's, it was just, is it fair to say that you're not an expert on chiropractic care? What could they say? Good. So you can testify all you want to about the failed medical care that was received, but I don't know what you're going to say about the chiropractic care. Well, we have the chiropractor here today presenting, and they did a very good job. So it just separated things out, really separated things out. But I also remember that I learned to stay on offense in that trial. And here's an example. So the patient had filled out an oswestry test in my office, and 2 weeks later they had an IME and they filled out an oswestry test, and the pain drawings were different from my office to the other office. And so there was a big under tarp display. The defense finally brought it around, displayed to the jury, it was like practically the size, life size of the differences. And the attorney said, Dr. Kronk, do you recognize what this is? And I said, no, I don't recognize what it is. What is it? Now, I could have said, oh yeah, it's an oswestry. Okay, so to stay on offense, I want to know if the person who's asking me the question knows what it is. So I said, no, I don't know what it is. What is it? He said, well, your patient filled it out in your office. I said, yeah, but I'm asking you, what is it? Well, it's a pain questionnaire. I said, okay, it's an oswestry pain questionnaire, right? Yeah, okay. Where's the back? What do you mean? Where's the back? The back is how you score it, and this is what gives the credibility to the test. This is the main thing you're looking for in the test. Well, guess what? They didn't have the back. Right? So you don't have the testing for the test in mine and the test on this other one? Do you know what the results were? No. Okay, blew it right out of the water. Why? Because the attorney that was basically presenting it did not understand it. And I just queried to make sure that they did. And everybody in the room could tell that they didn't, even though it was their exhibit. So bottom line is that settled for the largest settlement in King County history, and everybody was really happy. This doctor that called in, I was just with them Tuesday, a day ago actually, was very happy. It wasn't gloating or anything else, and you shouldn't be. He just was very happy that the patient got what they received, and he was very happy that it was easy for him to do the testify. Which now, does that improve his practice? Yes, it does. Because does that spread around? Yes, it does. And that's the ease. That's why I like it when doctors actually have an easy time with this, because you get known for this. You get known for your ability to simply communicate things, not in a complicated way. Doctors, if you're interested in the Smart Injury Doctors program, I highly recommend you check it out. Call us 800-940-6513. You can check us out at smartinjurydoctors.com. You can set up an appointment with me. I'll demo it. I'll show it to you. That's the easiest, fastest way for you to find out from the horse's mouth, so to speak, what this thing is really all about. Anyway, Dr. Short, sweet, and to the point on these podcasts. I hope something resonated here with you today. I hope if you've got trials or depositions, I hope they're going really, really well for you. If you're worried about them, you should get with us and stop worrying about them. They actually are fun to do. Once you get good at them, they're easy to do. They're fun to do. The only problem is that they conflict with your schedule sometimes. They are a little bit of schedule interruption, but you get paid well for that. So, you should like that, but I'm going to end with saying thank you very much for your time, your attention today, and I fully appreciate what you do every day. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and don't forget to join us on our next program.